At number 10, we have the Complex Root, which is a Malawan sniper rifle. You can find it here in Idolator's Noose at this order bunker, all the way down here from fighting Mimicron. You just do the tipping point order bunker, and this dude drops it. This guy's a little bit annoying to farm, so have fun with that. The Complex Root is historically one of the strongest weapons in all of Borderlands 3, and it is still insanely strong in Borderlands 4, allowing you to do some pretty crazy damage on particularly bosses. If you haven't seen it before, when you shoot, it kind of shoots out these little projectiles which go in a diverging path, and because it shoots so many projectiles, it can do an enormous amount of damage, both status damage and on-hit impact damage. One of the downsides to this weapon is that when you're trying to fight a boss, it can be difficult to have all of the projectiles actually hit said boss. However, if you get a Complex Root to roll with the underbarrel, the Atlas Tracker Dart, this helps out significantly, allowing this thing to effectively just nuke bosses. Basically just hit those mobs with a tracker dart and then all of the projectiles will home in. This thing works exponentially better the larger the target that you're hitting is, because it'll have a much easier time hitting all of those projectiles. I mainly like this weapon for bossing, however I have had a lot of people in my comments recommend it for mobbing. I think it's a little awkward for mobbing, but if you're doing like a status effect build, say on Harlow or something, then I could see it being a little bit useful. My preferred role in this is going to be with a COV licensed magazine, and then of course with the Atlas Underbarrel. The COV mag will just allow you to shoot more total projectiles. It can roll Jacobs as well, but the Jacobs does not allow it to spawn extra projectiles. It will basically just make it kind of transfer from one mob to another. The best build that I've had success with this were the Bloodshot Vex build that I literally just uploaded yesterday, and also the Neutron Capture Harlow. Coming in at number 9 here, we have the Jacobs Rainbow Vomit Shotgun. You can get this from farming Leader Wellum. Unfortunately, you have to do a little bit of a side mission thing. I believe it's about 5 side missions, but you can start here in Carcadia Burn if you just go over to the faction town, and you start with the side quest, Enter the Electi Part 1. I'll leave a written guide on how to complete it, but if you just follow the side mission, you should be perfectly fine. This gun is extremely unique, to be honest with you. It can roll a combination of any 3 elements, and it always is going to roll Jacobs, and if you guys have played Borderlands 4, you know that on average, Jacobs weapons are better than the rest because the ricochet is so good, and the shotguns just do extremely high impact damage. What's very interesting about the Rainbow Vomit is that the initial damage is actually always going to be kinetic, so it is just going to scale well with pretty much any build. But then all the status effect damage added on top is going to be whatever your role is. So for example, my role is both corrosive, incendiary, and shock. So no matter what enemy type I'm fighting, I'm going to have some amount of strong damage towards that enemy. Because of this, I'd say this weapon is the quintessential jack of all trades. Also, the ricochet is just really nice. You hit one guy and it ricochets all over the place, and it basically instantaneously applies any status effect that you want. It also just feels really good to use, basically like no recoil, does pretty good on-hit damage, and it just looks sick. I mean, when you shoot it, you literally spawn like rainbow stuff all over the place. Overall, just a very pleasant weapon to use. It's not going to break the game or anything, but it is just generally strong. If you're pretty much playing any gun damage build or any status effect build, you'd easily see this as being a go-to weapon. I don't have one on me right now, but you can actually get the Rainbow Vomit to roll with a spread launcher underbarrel, which if you guys have seen that, it is crazy. So highly recommend going out and trying to get one of those. Next on the list, we got the Katagawa's Revenge Malawan Sniper Rifle. This thing has quickly become one of my favorite weapons. It has 2 different firing modes. The fire mode isn't my favorite. It kind of spawns these little balls. They are okay, but they're a little bit inconsistent with where they go. However, the shock mode is my bread and butter. You spawn these little taser balls here, and if you hit an enemy, they just beam the ever-living crap out of the enemy there. They have an extremely high status effect chance, however, the actual on-hit damage of these balls isn't very high. That's where playing something like Harlow with Neutron Capture comes in, because it doesn't matter how much damage your actual gun is doing, all you want is for the gun to just hit a ton of times per second. So if I pop my action skill here and then I hit the enemy, you can see the Katagawa balls are just beaming the crap out of the enemy, proccing my Neutron Capture damage over and over and over again. One of the amazing things about this weapon is that it can actually roll with a Jacobs part, and this has a very cool interaction on this gun. As you can see, by default, when I shoot, it's only going to spawn 3 little balls. However, when you have a Jacobs part and then you crit, it spawns 6. But if you add a bounce pass enhancement on here, every time you crit, you're now going to spawn 9 balls, and then that also will ricochet between different enemies. So you can see I shoot this guy, and I'm just gonna fill up the entire screen with balls of destruction. Like I said, the best use case I found for this is on Harlow with neutron capture, and I do believe it to be the absolute best weapon for her. However, because it hits so many times per second and the actual status effect damage is pretty good, I could easily see this being used on many different builds, either status effect builds or any builds that benefit from hitting a ton of times per second. Not only can this absolutely annihilate bosses on Harlow, but it is by far Harlow's best mobbing weapon too, because when you're in a drill site or something, you shoot one guy and you spawn balls all over the place that instantly 1-dig anything that spawns, and it pairs very nicely with the Field Scientist class mod, which is going to have a lot of shock and entangle synergies, which with Katagawa's, it's going to instantly shock every enemy. So the second that I shoot an enemy, it's going to basically shock them, entangle them, and then it's going to apply that entangle to enemies all over the place and give me my cooldown back like crazy. It is very, very good. My preferred role is, of course, getting one that it has the Jacobs part on it. You can also get it with the COV part in addition to Jacobs, which is going to increase the magazine size quite significantly, which I am a huge fan of. Next up, we've got the Stray, which is a Ripper sniper rifle. You can get it from this drill site here in Carcadia Burn, right next to the makeshift chalet safe house. You just go down here and kill Pango Bango, and this guy drops it pretty frequently, actually. It's a pretty high drop rate. What this gun does is basically you shoot, and it has additional projectiles that spawn, as it says on the card here. It shoots out 2 secondary bullets that home in on enemies. So you can see here, if I shoot this guy, but then I actually just completely whiff, it's going to just full aimbot the target dummy here. But if I also just decide to shoot the guy, I'm going to be doing even more damage, because the first hit actually will hit the guy, and then any subsequent hit will just be tracking over to him. What's really cool about this is the tracking can actually hit multiple enemies, so I can be shooting at this guy, and then I could probably have the tracking go and hit that guy. This is the ultimate dad gamer weapon, because you really don't have to aim at anything. It'll pretty much just auto track, and if you have any gun damage based build, this works pretty well. It also happens to crit fairly often with the home effect, so you can pair it with Vex Bleed, for example, because it's so broken right now. I've actually seen one of my friends just like full AFK farming a lot of drill sites with this, basically just perched up on a ledge, and he just shoots into the sky and everything ends up dying. It's not just a gimmick though, the actual on-card damage here is pretty high, so if you're looking for a sniper rifle that's chill to use and is not really the conventional sniper rifle and you just want something to do high damage, I'd recommend trying this out. I haven't gotten a ton of rolls with this, but it seems like the best thing to get in addition to it would be a COV magazine, just so you have more rounds in the mag. On the list is the Borstel Ballista, which is a Jacobs sniper rifle here. It's going to drop from the Timekeeper in the Upper Dominion, and you just go farm him. This guy's drop rate is pretty low, unfortunately, and you do have to make the trek all the way up there. But if you're looking for what is effectively the quintessential run-of-the-mill sniper rifle, I'd highly recommend going for this. It is just gonna feel very good as a sniper. It has the propagation perk on it, which makes it to where when you shoot it, it kind of fans out with these additional projectiles, which is going to make it do significantly more damage, but it also makes it to where it's effectively impossible when you're running around mobbing to miss a critical hit, because it just is going to have so many projectiles. It feels pretty good to use, it's chill, and one thing that's nice about it is that it is always going to roll with the alt-fire underbarrel shotgun, and this will count as both a shotgun and a sniper rifle. It doesn't have very many bullets in the mag, but it does quite a lot of damage when using this, which is pretty good. With my Vex Bloodshot build, this actually is a fairly decent weapon to pair with it, but I figured I'd include it in the list because it is just a very, on average, just strong sniper rifle, feels good to use. And yeah, one thing you can do if you want to take advantage of the underbarrel shotgun mode is you could have 4 Borstel Ballistas in your inventory and use the shotgun mode on one and then swap over to the next one, and that's going to bypass the internal cooldown here. But I wish I had more to actually say about this weapon. It is just a strong sniper rifle that feels good to use. Any gun damage build can take pretty good advantage of it. I think the best way to use it is going to be, again, with my Bloodshot build, but any sniper build is probably going to work perfectly fine. Coming in at number 5, we've got the Vladov SMG, the Chaosin. This drops from the vault boss, the Ark of Origo, so you just go in here and you farm this guy. This guy can be a little bit annoying to farm, but it drops from the Primordial Guardian Origo there. The Chaosan is a Torgue Sticky SMG, and if you've played any Borderlands games, you know that Torgue Stickies are very good, but something unique about the Chaosan is that it always rolls ×2, and the ×2 there is going to give it significantly more damage than traditional SMGs with stickies on it. It also, because it is an SMG, has pretty good fire rate, so you can stack up quite a lot of stickies on an enemy, and then of course, when you reload, it's going to blow up and do a lot of damage. This can roll in multiple elements as well. I've only seen it roll in shock. Most of the time it's going to roll in kinetic. It may be able to roll in other elements other than shock. I'm not 100% sure. And it can even roll up to a 4% sticky roll with extremely high flat damage on it. So this thing is crazy at bossing. Pretty much any build can take advantage of this that's using a lot of gun damage, but I'd say the characters to best take advantage of it are going to be Vex with a like witchy trigger finger Eldritch Blast setup in Incarnate so that you never have to reload, or Rafa with his infinite ammo augment on his Peacebreaker cannons as well, just so you can stack up a whole bunch of stickies onto an enemy and then reload and then watch the stickies blow up. It's particularly good at mobbing too, just because the on-hit damage is extremely high. It's not my preferred weapon for mobbing, but because Rafa has so much extra splash damage and stuff, it'll just do a lot of damage on him. And if you're looking for a Torgue sticky weapon and you can't find the absolute perfect purple roll, I'd say this is a fantastic in-between and completely shreds bosses. I've even seen people use this on Green Tree Harlow. It's just an all-around really strong gun, and I like to get it with the Atlas homing there, so if you're fighting a boss that is particularly mobile, you can just shoot the Atlas homing dart onto the guy, and then you can aim into the sky, and all of your bullets will then home onto the enemy, which just helps you out a lot with consistency. All right, now we're getting to the real good stuff. Coming at number 4, we got the Rogue Looty Mad Lad here, which is a dataless SMG. This is also going to drop from your boy Mimikron down in Idolator's Noose at the Tipping Point Order Bunker here. So this is also the guy that drops the complex route, so you can get a little 2-for-1 deal if you go down there. This weapon is just an SMG that bolsters a 22 rounds per second fire rate, which is crazy. If you compare that to the previous mention, being the Chaosan, my Chaosan roll only had a 8.7 per second fire rate, but it has about the same base damage. The Chaosan has a little bit higher base damage and shoots 2 bullets per second, but what the Mad Lad can do that the Chaosan cannot is that it has underbarrel modes because it is a dataless gun. I've seen it roll with like assault rifle and maybe pistol, but the best option that I have found is the shotgun mode. As you can see, by default, it shoots just crazy fast. It feels really good to use. It's just an SMG that is insane, but if you pop open the shotgun mode, it gets even crazier. And you can see it's still shooting 22 bullets a second, but it's shooting 5 projectiles a second because it is in that shotgun mode. Obviously, you're going to absolutely tear through ammo with this, and if you're going to use it with the shotgun mode, you're going to want to beef up your SDU points so you have the shotgun ammo fully amped up there. And yeah, you're not going to need to spec into any fire rate with this thing because it just beams by default. It is an absolute blast to use. It has very good handling. The damage on it is quite nice, and obviously the fire rate on it is insane. I found this best paired with actually Harlow on Neutron Capture. Even though I do think Katagawa's is the best weapon on Harlow, this is probably the second best because you shoot 22 bullets a second, and then you pop it into shotgun mode, which shoots like 4 to 5 projectiles. So you're easily shooting like 70 projectiles a second, which is pretty crazy for Harlow on Neutron Capture. But any other character, if you just want a good out-of-the-box feeling SMG that just beams enemies, the Mad Lad is going to be your best bet. At number 3, we've got the Wombo Combo Vladov Assault Rifle. Somehow I didn't have this unlocked on my map, probably because I farmed it with a friend in their lobby, but this drops from the Saw's Clench Ripper drill site all the way in the top of the Ruined Sumplins here, and actually drops from the Gruntabulous Boar. This gun's pretty sick. I believe it can roll in all elements. I personally have gotten one in both radiation and fire, but what's really cool about this is, I mean, it's a Vladov, sorry for the menu spam. It's a Vladov AR that shoots really fast, and it has good like on-hit damage, but what's really cool about it is that when you shoot it, not only is it going to do actual like radiation damage or whatever damage that you got it to roll, but it also shoots out a rocket, as you can see here, which just makes it do a crazy amount of damage. And if you've played Borderlands 4 for any period of time, you know that doing like ordnance damage is kinetic, and kinetic damage on average is going to be better than most other damage types because that damage works for all sorts of different enemies. So in theory, you could run around with like 4 different wombo combos and have one for all different enemy types. The reason this is so high on the list is because the damage on it is crazy, but also if you're playing a character like Rafa and benefiting from a whole bunch of gun damage increases in addition to splash damage, the actual underbarrel rockets are going to benefit both times from that, therefore doing just a crazy amount of damage. It's also just generically a very strong gun if you want to play any gun damage based build. It just has pretty much everything that you want a good gun to have. It just does a lot of damage. The rockets are satisfying. It feels good to use, has good fire rate, a lot of bullets in the mag there. You pretty much just can't go wrong with it. Number 2 on the list, we've got what is probably my favorite gun in the entire game, the Hot Slugger Jacobs shotgun. You can get this from the order bunker here, Craven's Nook, in the heart of the mountain, right above where the training dummies are here. You just go along in here and fight Callus, the harbinger of annihilating death. What is crazy about the Hot Slugger, and this is one of the first legendaries that I ever found, and I didn't realize at that time how spoiled I was, because I couldn't find anything better than this for the life of me until I get to number 1 here. I genuinely thought this was the best gun in the game, and it probably has a lot of arguments to be made for it being the best gun in the game. It is a Jacobs shotgun with a 9,392 damage on card here, and what's cool about this gun is it always rolls the exact same. You don't have to worry about getting a particular roll with a particular part. It always rolls the same, and it's always good. So like I was saying earlier, Jacobs shotguns, boom, right out the gate, do a crazy amount of damage, and ricocheting is nice. But it also, just because why not, it has the Blazing Barrel perk. On kill, deal 30% increased damage for 10 seconds for a maximum of 3 stacks. So using this thing, you get another 90% increased damage just running around. I don't know what to say about it other than it just does insane damage. It feels super good to use. It loads really quick. The handling on it is super insane. Just honestly feels great to use. It's especially good on Rafa because he has the perk Vitriol, so he gains increased damage on the first shot in his magazine. And even when you have like insane negative gun handling, it still is just a complete laser and literally just one-shot stuff, which is pretty sick. Something I found too that's quite nice with it is if you have 3-piece trick shot and then you're consistently landing critical hits with like your Peacebreaker cannons, for example, you'll constantly be refilling the ammo in your magazine there, so you never have to reload, but the reload on it is so fast anyways that it's not really a downside. It feels fantastic on Vex too because you have so much kinetic damage scaling, and if you pair it with a bounce pass enhancement, I mean, any Jacobs gun is going to benefit a lot from this, but I'd say the Hot Slugger benefits even more because it literally one-shots enemies, right? So if you crit them, it's going to ricochet to 1, but then if you have the bounce pass, it'll ricochet to 2 guys, so you basically kill 1 guy, and boom, 2 other guys just die off screen. I don't have it on me, but another thing that's pretty cool you can do with the Hot Slugger is if you get a enhancement that has both shotgun magazine size and gun magazine size, it'll go over 100% total mag size, which will then bring it to 2 bullets in the mag. And then if you pair that with a, if I have one on me here, a Super Soldier shield, every second you're going to regenerate 1 ammo. But because you have 2 bullets in the mag, you're never going to have to reload because you're constantly regenning 1 ammo. And you have 2 bullets in the mag, so you're never going to be able to shoot out 2 bullets faster than you are regenerating the 1 bullet in the mag. So that's a pretty cool synergy there. This thing just does insane damage, and also the Blazing Barrel perk can proc from any source of kill, I believe, as long as you just have the weapon out. I believe the damage increase that it gives you is local or specific to the actual gun itself, so you can't abuse it for other stuff as far as I'm aware. But if your Peacebreaker cannons get kills, or your Spectres get kills, or anything else, your Firework shield, it'll still give you the damage buff, which is quite nice. Before we get to the next gun, it has come to my attention that 80% of you guys aren't subscribed, so I'm going to need you guys to lock in and hit the sub button. Can we get a grip around here? What are we doing? 80%, guys? We got to get those numbers up. Now we're at number 1, which is my favorite gun in the entire game, and what I believe to be overall the strongest gun in the game, and that is the BOD shotgun, which is a dataless. You can get it from Axmal here in the Carcadia district, right next to the Lockway safe house. You're going to go towards the Toil of Spoiling this abandoned auger mine here, and Axmal is down there. He's a little annoying to farm, to be honest, but he doesn't have that much HP. He's mainly flesh, so bring something fire if you would like. The drop rate on the BOD is fairly low, so good luck, but I promise you it is worth it because this gun is crazy. The main differentiating factor about this gun is that it has the perk All Arounder, where it is going to count as a shotgun, AR, sniper rifle, pistol, and an SMG. And because of this, I believe it is going to have an enormous amount of build synergies. I decided to just slap this together on a Vex build yesterday and ended up finding probably one of the strongest builds in the entire game as a result of it, and that is with 0 bugs or anything. What's cool about this perk is not only does it have a whole bunch of build implications, meaning, for example, I can use this class mod, and because it counts as a sniper rifle, I effectively have a shotgun sniper rifle, which just does a ridiculous amount of damage and it shoots very nicely. But also, for any challenges relating to any specific gun type, this thing is going to count for all of them. This thing can roll like 500 different ways, but because it is a dataless, it's always going to roll with a secondary fire component. It goes from AR, pistol, SMG, and sniper rifle, but it is always a shotgun by default, which is why it is so strong. Out of all of the different fire modes that I have tested, I believe the best one to be sniper and then pistol. The other ones don't seem to be as good, but they are all comparably strong, to be honest with you. And you can get a whole bunch of different license parts on this. The best combination I found is sniper plus COV, but you can even get Torg stickies on this thing, which I'm going to include in my Rafa build because, oh my god, is this crazy on Rafa with the infinite damage or infinite ammo and then the Torg stickies. But you can also even get a Ripper mag on this. It can get pretty much anything. I think I've even seen one that had an element on it, and therefore it was Maliwan, but it's extremely rare. I think I've seen radiation and cryo on it, if you for some reason wanted to take advantage of that. Very, very rare. The only thing I don't think it can roll is Jacobs. I've never seen Jacobs on it. So why is this thing so good? Well, the on-card damage is 351 times 5, which is actually quite high, but it gets even more damage when you swap it into its respective mode, such as the sniper mode here. You can see the default shotgun mode does like pretty good damage, but you swap it into the sniper mode, and it just gains a ridiculous amount of damage. Not a great comparison here because I am using it with my Vex Bloodshot build, which is crazy with this weapon, and this is the main benefactor of this weapon because I can take advantage of the fact of it being a shotgun but counting as a sniper rifle, so I basically get Bloodshot on every single shot, which is crazy strong. But like I said, it's also very good on Rafa. Literally any gun build is going to take good advantage of this because it does so much damage. And it just feels very nice to shoot. I was pleasantly surprised with the mobbing on this thing, especially with this Bloodshot build I was doing on my Vex. It is the best feeling gun I have used so far because the reticle is so tiny, and I could actually full one-shot mobs like across the screen. I felt like I was actually sniping them, which was super cool. Another great thing about the bod is that on enhancements, the gun damage increases that you get on enhancements are actually multiplicative, whereas most things in the game are additive. And because the bod counts as all weapons, you can get pretty much any possible roll on an enhancement and it'll probably be good for your bod. You could get gun damage, sniper rifle damage, shotgun damage, SMG damage. Anything that is specific to a certain gun type is going to work on the bod no matter what. I think it is genuinely one of the most versatile guns in the game, and it probably has a lot of untapped potential just because of the all-rounder perk, making it count as all different weapon types. There's probably a whole host of things you can do as a result of that we haven't figured out yet, but just me doing the Bloodshot build ended up being a massive surprise, and a pleasant one at that. It is my favorite build in the game and my favorite gun to use now as a result. So maybe I'm a little bit impartial, but just trying it on other characters, it is still very strong. I wasn't even surprised when I insta-nuked bosses with it on Rafa because I knew how strong it was on my Vex. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe. Thanks for all that. It took quite a while to put this video together, so if you found it helpful, that would all be greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.